Hello, beautiful guys and girls. This is V, and you're watching Movies Hunter. So, I recently watched this romance drama film called Portrait of a Beauty, and I wasn't expecting this film to be good, but it basically has everything. There is drama, romance, betrayal, and also a little bit of adventure. So, let's get straight to the plot of the movie. In the opening scene, we see Shin Han-pyong, who has called some guests to show off some paintings drawn by his beloved son, Shin Yun-buk. The guests are impressed by the paintings. They were like, wow, this looks like a Picasso. And they request the son to paint in front of them. Live show, live show, live show. But the son is surprisingly scared and hesitates to paint. His father is embarrassed and looks for him afterwards to scold him. But to his shock, Yun-buk unfortunately killed himself. Han-pyong then learns that the paintings were actually made by his daughter, Shin Yeon-jung, and blames her for the death of Yun-buk. That's bad parenting, but anyway. He is desperate to get an heir to continue his name. But since girls are not allowed to become royal painters, he forces Yeon-jung to assume the identity of her brother and live the rest of her life as Yun-buk. Weird plan, but okay. Now, my friends, 10 years later, Yeon-jung has become a student of Kim Hong-doo, one of the most popular painter at the royal court. Now, Yeon-jung is being trained to become a royal painter. One day, a local man named Kang-woo accidentally bumps into them and breaks an expensive royal mirror. Damn. Kang-woo is quickly arrested, and Hong-doo and Yeon-jung are also held responsible for the damage. They are then asked to make a beautiful painting, which should be worth the price of the expensive mirror. So Hong-doo asks Yeon-jung to make the painting as his hand is injured. The painting made by Yeon-jung is accepted. Yay! And Kang-woo is set free. He then was like, thank you Hong-doo, thank you Yeon-jung for basically helping him. But Hong-doo was like not satisfied, and he tells Kang-woo to show them some beautiful locations for painting. So the next day, Kang-woo takes Yeon-jung around the village and shows her many people and places that she can paint. Kang-woo then takes her to a lake where some women are bathing. Yeon-jung is thrilled to watch them and even draws a painting of them, as she hasn't yet explored her feminine side for years. But when the women catch them peeking, Yeon-jung and Kang-woo run away as fast as possible and get on a bridge where Yeon-jung falls into the river. Kang-woo also jumps into the river and helps Yeon-jung get to the shore. Now that her clothes are soaked in water, her chest is then clearly visible. Out of curiosity, Kang-woo grabs them and gets slapped by Yeon-jung. Kang-woo quickly realizes that Yeon-jung is actually a woman pretending to be a man. Blah blah blah. A few days later, Yeon-jung goes to a house of ill repute where all her painter colleagues are watching some women perform adult things. While leaving, Yeon-jung gets attacked by some men who are jealous of Yeon-jung's achievements. Since Yeon-jung is physically weak, she has basically no choice but to obey them. But Kang-woo comes to her rescue and saves her. Kang-woo is now attracted to Yeon-jung and is falling in love with her. Yay, love. The next day, Kang-woo takes part in a wrestling competition and wins a cow, which he then gifts to Yeon-jung. Whoa. Click subscribe so I can buy me a cow. Thank you. Yeon-jung sees the cow along with an apology for touching her and rushes to Kang-woo's house. Both of them have feelings for each other and are basically falling in love. Meanwhile, the bullies from earlier steal the paintings of Yeon-jung and show them to their master, because of which Yeon-jung gets scolded. The king also comes there unexpectedly and gets mad after seeing Yeon-jung's paintings. But Hong-doo defends Yeon-jung by saying that vulgarity is in the eyes of the beholder, not in the paintings. Deep. The king seems to agree with him. I mean, I don't, because I don't understand it, but okay. And the king then commands Yeon-jung to practice more self-discipline. But a few moments later, Hong-doo scolds Yeon-jung for making such paintings, calling them vulgar and lewd. Later on, Yeon-jung goes to a warehouse, where she secretly spends her day with Kang-woo. Their love for each other is getting stronger, and one day they eventually get romantic in the warehouse. Yeon-jung is finally able to embrace her womanhood and be herself instead of pretending to be someone else. That's beautiful. Yes, girl, be your okay, that's Sims language, but whatever. But unbeknownst to them, Hong-doo is watching them from behind a window. Instead of being angry, he is surprisingly turned on. Girls, go away, man, don't peek. Despite vowing never to return to a house of ill repute a long time ago, Hongdu goes to make love to a woman named Sulwa. The next day, the bully attacks Yeonjung because he is having doubts about her gender, but Hongdu saves her time and tells the bully to leave. A few days later, the bully apologizes to Yeonjung for bullying her and has even invited some women for fun. But his main intention is to find the truth about Yeonjung's gender. Sulwa then takes her to a room and kisses her. She knows about Yeonjung's true identity, but chooses not to expose her. Later on, Kangwoo goes to a shop to buy a dress for Yeonjung. Sulwa sees him and invites him to her place where she gives him a beautiful dress as a gift. The dress was actually given to her by Hongdu, who promised to marry her a long time ago, but he never really came back for her. Now, later that night, Hongdu tells Yeonjung not to get diverted by the outside influence, indirectly telling her to stop seeing Kangwoo. He knows about Yeonjung's affair and gender, but doesn't say anything. The next day, Yeonjung goes to the warehouse where Kangwoo gives her the dress. Okay. They then go to a temple to pray for a life together. But just then, the royal guards arrive at the temple to arrest everyone, as it turns out that the monks were romancing women. Plot twist! Yeonjung and Kangwoo try to escape, but are eventually caught by the royal guards. So Kangwoo sacrifices himself so that Yeonjung can escape. When Yeonjung returns home, she sees Hongdu waiting for her. He is surprised to see her wearing the same dress that he gifted Sulwa. Hongdu then expresses his love for Yeonjung and attempts to make love to her forcefully. But he then stops when he realizes what he was doing was wrong. Everyone belonging to royal families is allowed to leave, except for Kangwoo, who is informed by the guards that he is going to be executed the next day for committing adultery at the temple. So, the next day, Yeonjung begs Hongdu to save Kangwoo from execution. Seeing her in pain, Hongdu decides to meet the king and asks him to spare Kangwoo. The king accepts his request and instead decides to banish Kangwoo. Yeonjung then burns all the memories of her and Kangwoo as she wants to move on and become a royal painter. She also then offers her body to Hongdu to thank him for saving Kangwoo. Yeonjung has now decided to continue her life as Yeonbuk. The day when Kangwoo was supposed to be banished, Sulwa followed him and brought him back to her house. Yeonjung rushes to him and is happy to see Kangwoo alive. Later on, Sulwa revealed to the bully that Yeonjung is actually a woman. She also tells Hongdu that Yeonjung and Kangwoo are planning to run away the next morning. Sulwa wants Hongdu to be alone forever because he never fulfilled his promise of marrying her. When Hongdu returns home, he sees Yeonjung waiting for him. She wants to give Hongdu a painting to thank him for everything. While painting, Hongdu gets flashbacks of all the happy memories he has with Yeonjung. And for the first time in his life, he feels love for someone and begs Yeonjung not to leave him. Hey, please, Yeonjung, don't leave me, I need you. But Yeonjung has made up her mind. Since Hongdu doesn't want to lose Yeonjung, he confronts Kangwoo and shoots him with a poisonous arrow. Bang! Hongdu then tells him that he has the antidote for the poison, but will give it to him only if Kangwoo is willing to forget Yeonjung. But Kangwoo is not willing to give up on his love. Both men want Yeonjung in their life and will do anything for her. Because of this struggle, the antidote falls into the river. Hongdu quickly jumps into the water to find the antidote. When Yeonjung comes there, she is saddened to see Kangwoo taking his final breath. By the time Hongdu returned with the antidote, Kangwoo has died on Yeonjung's lap. Yeonjung, her father, and Hongdu are then arrested by the royal guards for deceiving the king and having a woman become a royal painter. Han Pyung accepts his mistake of forcing his daughter to hide her nature and begs the king to spare Yeonjung. But the king commands his soldiers to torture Hongdu and Yeonjung until they reveal the truth. When the king interrogates Yeonjung, she tells him that Hongdu learned about her identity last night only and that he is innocent. Despite the death of Kangwoo, Yeonjung protects her master till the end. Hongdu, on the other hand, draws a painting of the day he learned about Yeonjung's identity, which changed everything for him. He cries saying that he couldn't protect Yeonjung's innocence and lost to his lust. Lost to his lust, lost to his lust. Lost to his lust, that's actually a great title. So, after listening to both of them, the king decides to spare Hongdu and banishes him from the kingdom. Yeonjung is also separately banished from the kingdom, and she draws a painting of herself when she wore the dress gifted by Kangwoo. Because of jealousy and lust, a beautiful relationship between a teacher and a student got tainted. And so this was the story of Portrait of a Beauty. Click subscribe, like the video, and I'm gonna see you in the next hunt.